Einen wunderschönen Willkommen zurück zu einer weiteren Folge von Kathy Rain. Die Krankenschwester blockt alles ab. Wir wissen nicht, was los ist. Wir können das nicht lesen, aber draußen sitzt... Wie hieß der denn nochmal? Er hier. Oh, ach, immer dieses Rausklicken.
Oh, hi!
So, how good an actor are you?
The best! The very best!
You know, that nurse in there, she said she loved you in all those movies, and that she always wished you'd give her a live performance.
I knew it! She always gave me these strange looks. I thought it was contempt, but her face must just be cramping up from shyness.
Yeah, that's definitely it. She'd love to see you act, I'm sure.
I'm gonna have to oblige. Which movie do you think she'd like the best?
Definitely Jacob's bladder.
I'm feeling the pressure.
Boah, ist der groß.
Oh, Jenny, everything is forgiven. You and me were like peas and carrots. I'm just so full of your love that I think I'm about to burst.
Rows and columns
Jenny!
of files.
Where did you go? Oh, I don't feel so good. Thank you, thank you. You've been a great audience.
Okay, muss ich jetzt die Filme durchprobieren oder was?
That wasn't really an electrifying performance. I'll have to intervene somehow.
Elektrisch? Könnte ja einen Schock geben. So, warte mal.
Hey, doofus.
Oh, hi.
Hey, how about another show?
Sure. Any suggestions?
How about the usual surprises?
Business as usual.
Ich werde mal mit dem Tacker hier, mit dem Elektroschocker rangehen. Mal gucken, ob das geht. Weil es ist nicht
I
elektrisierend
can't
genug.
believe you guys did all this for me. You know, what's that smell? Bacon? Oh, Bobby, my head hurts. Ah!
Nurse, he's seizing! Oh shit!
Alter, Casey.
Man, I feel like a total jackass. I'll have to make it up to the poor guy later.
Das war schwarze Brett lesen.
Employee of the month, Carlita Mendez. Ugh, what a joke. It's that obnoxious nurse.
Carlita Mendez, okay. Ah, okay, warte mal. Moment. Wir haben doch bestimmt noch die... Haben wir. Och, der ist ja noch langsamer. Hourblade 33. 4 MB mit einer Yamato SDS. Okay. Nee, kaputt machen wir nicht, ne? C. Mendes und O. Torgador. Oh Gott. Nochmal. O. Torgador. Warum auch immer. Ah, das Tool ist cool. Wait, ne? Was war das jetzt für ein Geräusch? Warte mal. Das kommt echt daher. Okay. Charles Wade, geboren. Warte mal, das Geburtsdatum schreibe ich mir auch mal ab. 24.08.24. Überwiesen von Dr. A. Friedmann, Francis, bla bla. Wie kann ich jetzt hier... Bei dem Patienten wurde erfolgreich ein invasiver Eingriff am offenen Herzen durchgeführt. Er wurde auf eigene Bitte hin in diese Einrichtung verlegt. Die Prognose ist positiv und der Patient sollte erwartungsgemäß in 6 bis 8 Wochen vollkommen genesen sein. Status stabil. Joseph Irving Rain. Patient wurde vom Polizeibeamten in einem Zustand der Verwirrung eingeliefert. Kein offensichtliches äußeres Trauma. Normale Pupillenerweiterung, reagiert nicht auf andere Stimuli. Möglicher Schlaganfall. Patient wird zur weiteren Diagnose an einen Neurologen überwiesen. Ach, siehst du, da unten steht was mit Raum. Warte. Raum 6b. Okay. So, ich denke mal, wir müssen hier nach oben. Also wenn er stabil ist, warum sagt sie dann, dass es seltsam, ihn so zu sehen?
It's all right, Claude.
Understood, sir.
So, you managed to find me.
I did.
Well, let's get this over with then. How do you want your pictures? Shall I get some tubes to fill my face with? Will that suffice for your front page?
I'm no journalist. Well, not yet anyway.
Ah, she's but a cub. So, you're hoping for your big break. Surely this must be worth an internship at one of the big papers. Do you want me to call Thompson at the Times and get it over with? I still play golf with him every once in a while.
Mann. Mitten in der Nacht rumhupen. Es ist persönlich, Sie stellen viele Mutmaßungen an, Sie brauchen keine... Achso, hier.
That's not what this is about. It's personal.
Sounds serious. Perhaps I should ask Claude to produce his gun.
You know, Charles, the person most likely to be harmed by a gun tends to be its owner.
Very true. That's something that Japs who captured me learned the hard way.
Did my grandfather bail you out then too, or was that one of the few times where he didn't save your sorry ass?
Hold on there. Explain yourself.
You're willing to listen to something other than your own voice? I'm stunned. I'm Kathy Rain. Joseph was my grandfather.
Stille.
Now I remember. You were at the funeral.
I was.
You were late.
I needed my morning smoke. Besides, it's not like Grandpa was going anywhere.
Oh, just look at her, Claude. She's absolutely fearless. That's Joseph's blood running through her veins.
She certainly has a smart mouth, sir.
I must say, you have me intrigued, Kathy. What can this old man help you with?
Oh, jetzt wird spannend.
Do you know anything about what happened to my grandfather in 81?
I wish I did, Kathy. You must know I did everything in my power to help. How do you think Mary Elizabeth could afford all that expensive treatment? MRIs, neurologists, say what you will about Joseph. But he was never rich.
Strange. Grandma never mentioned that to me.
She's just too proud. At first she refused. She was convinced that I had an agenda, that there were strings attached.
And were there?
Don't be silly. Despite all that had happened, I still loved Joseph dearly. I wanted to help. People from places like this have a deeply rooted mistrust in the rich, passed on for generations. In her eyes, I had become one of them.
So that's all you know about the whole affair?
Are you implying that there's more to know? I left the diagnosis to the professionals. Mrs. Rain accepted the health care, but asked me to stay out of everything else. So I did.
I see. What can you tell me about your friendship with Grandpa?
Joseph was the best friend I ever had. We grew up together, married our high school sweethearts together, went to war together. I can't even begin to count the number of times he's saved my life. I repaid the favor once or twice, but he came up ahead, no doubt.
So when did you two lose touch? I heard that something happened between you and him. What was it?
The truth is, Brian Rain happened. Sharon Evans happened.
My parents?
Yes. They ruined everything with their vile, destructive behavior. I couldn't have that around my daughter or my newborn grandson. Joseph was naive. He believed that anyone could be helped, that anyone could be reasoned with, given a chance. He was just too good, bless him. He should have been harder on Brian, more strict.
Wir sahen, dass Großvater keine Schuld trifft.
It's hardly Grandpa's fault. He did everything he could to set my father straight.
Oh, I never claimed to doubt Joseph's commitment, but I'm not going to ignore his flaws either. Your grandfather often used his heart when he should have used his head.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
I believe it is, objectively. But I shouldn't speak ill of the dead. Eventually, my company grew much too large for this little town, and we moved on. Not long after that, your grandfather ended up in that wheelchair. That marked the end of our friendship, for obvious reasons.
Okay.
You bought a number of paintings by Lily Myers. Why?
I'm known to dabble in art from time to time. Martha, my wife at the time, was enamored with the paintings. I believe she first saw them at the high school which the Myers girl attended. Anyway, after the poor girl killed herself, I bought the paintings speculatively. When a young artist with any talent to speak of commits suicide, it can be a wet dream of certain
Nicht, der
connoisseurs.
lügt.
Shortly after procuring the art, I had it valued by an expert who determined that the value was 3 times the amount I bought it for. Today, I'm sure I would have made my money back tenfold or more if it wasn't for the art theft.
What art theft?
There was a burglary at the mansion I used to own here in town. It was all over the local news at the time.
Well, shit.
Eloquently put.
Do you recognize the call sign Cocky?
Would be strange if I didn't, since I was the one who coined it. It belongs to a fellow named Jimmy Cochran. He was a coward, really. The nickname is somewhat of a bad joke.
Perfect. Thanks.
Okay, den hatten wir doch schon mal auf der Spur, ne?
Tell me about Jimmy Cochran. Is he still alive?
In a literal sense. He's been held in a mental institution for years.
Let me guess. Since 81?
Either 82 or 83. I'm fairly certain it was early 83.
Do you remember the name of the institution?
Something starting with an E. Emerson, Everton, or similar.
Ingstrom? Ingstrom Psychiatric Hospital?
Yes, that's the one. You know the place, Kathy.
I do. My mother is in there. Sharon Evans? I had her committed about a year ago.
I see. It must have taken a lot of courage to do that, Kathy. Mothers have a lot of power over us. More than most of us care to admit.
I guess so. Do you know why Jimmy ended up in there?
Some obsessive-compulsive syndrome. He became fixated with circles and started hurting himself, trying to scratch the circles out of his head.
Creepy. I wonder what set him off. I think I'll check the place out tomorrow. Too late to head back to the city now. Can you tell me about the art theft?
Well, somebody broke in, stole the paintings, and got out. Fairly clumsy job. Lots of broken windows. The strangest thing was that I had a Monet, a Rembrandt, and 2 paintings by Picasso, untouched. But every single painting by an unknown local artist, gone.
Die
That
Kirche.
can't be a coincidence.
Agreed. Somebody wanted those paintings badly.
I assume there was an investigation.
Yes, Sheriff Truman came by with his deputy a few hours later, but they didn't have much luck. They found a few hairs, which turned out to be from Ruffles, the family dog.
Some stunning police work right there.
Indeed. There was a single witness, though, who said he could make out multiple burglars leaving the scene of the crime, but nothing more than that.
So, I take it the case was closed?
Yes. I honestly didn't care much one way or the other, given the fact that my most expensive pieces were safe and sound.
I think I'll have a chat with the sheriff about the matter, if that's okay with you.
Certainly. I'll call ahead and instruct him to give you everything you need.
Yes.
That'd be great. Thanks, Charles.
Anytime. But I'm curious, what's your interest in the paintings?
I've learned that my grandfather went to Sue and asked to see them, right before he had his injury.
Is that so? Strange.
What can you tell me about the Church of the Holy Trinity?
They seem like any other church to me. But then again, I'm not their usual clientele. Weddings, baptisms, and funerals are just about what I can muster. And I always leave early.
Do you recognize this, Charles?
Of course. Your grandfather, me, Jimmy Cochran, taken shortly before we went to the war.
You guys look like you just won the lottery or something.
Indeed. We were mere children, with no concept of what we were getting into.
Do you know what this key opens?
You must be truly desperate if you ask random people a question like that.
What do you see in this picture, Charles?
Fireflies would be my best guess. They can grow terribly large around these parts.
Ich glaub nicht.
Do you know what this is?
A flower. Why don't you consult a botanist instead of bothering me with this nonsense?
Oh, der scheint recht fit zu sein, oder?
I don't need to.
Okay,
I don't need to.
Okay, gut.
Thanks, Charles. That's all I need for now.
You're welcome, Kathy. Come back anytime.
Oh, habe ich mir jetzt alles angeguckt hier? Nee, ne? Warte mal.
Back again, I see.
I sure am.
Hier ist nämlich noch
Looks
was.
like Wade brought some of his old tunes with him. Just some boring landscape paintings. Just some boring...
Okay. Hier ist auch ein Telefon.
I'd rather not. He crushed me like a twig.
Okay, ist also nur ein Raum. So, raus hier. Es gibt ja noch 2 weitere Orte, die wir besuchen können, ne? Zum einen... Okay. Will ich mal gucken wegen der Blume. Hier ist sie.
Well, this is it. This is where the picture was taken. I'm not sure what I expected to find here. I need to clear my head.
Das ist die pure Sucht, Kathy. Der aus dem Traum.
What the...
We've met before, haven't we?
Hast du der Aufkleber auf einer Flasche Putzmittel zählt?
Nope, just no. I'd remember a creepy bald dude with makeup.
Memories can deceive, Kathy. Dig deeper.
Who are you? How do you know my name?
You told me, remember?
I feel strange. Am I dreaming?
It's the mending. I will try to facilitate.
You're not real. I'm lying asleep in my bed right now.
Focus, Kathy. Listen to the drowned girl.
You mean Lily? What about her?
She's the anomaly, the missing refrain, the convergence point of things past and events yet to happen.
Dial down the metaphors a notch, would you, Mr. Kafka? I get enough of that shit in English class.
I knew you wouldn't disappoint. I'm glad, given how much trouble I went through to be here. You see, my name was taken from me, so I claimed a color in its stead. The next time we meet, you'll know the exact hue of red. You're on the right path, Kathy. Follow your grandfather, and everything will work out in the end.
Das ist der König.
Wait, what? How did I get here? Am I going crazy? Am I turning into Mom?
Moment. Sind wir da jetzt hingefahren oder nicht?
Hello?
Da liegt was.
Creepy bald guy. Guess no one's home. That wasn't here before. What's this?
Der rote Mann.
A bald man dressed in red. Oh, creepy.
Was haben wir denn hier noch? Nur die Blume.
Looks like a specimen of the red scythe. It's endangered. I'm not going to take it without a really good reason.
Der Duft, der macht Halluzino... Ne? Das wird es wahrscheinlich sein. Aber was hat er gesagt? Die Spur von Lilly.
Oh, it's you again. Come on in.
No, erstmal die Tür zu machen. So, der...
No Nathan today?
Nah, haven't seen Nate all day. Probably out in the woods.
Mhm. Zeichnung.
Looks like Nathan knows the strange red man. I need to talk to him about this.
Der rote Mann.
That must be Lily. She seems very happy looking up at the red man.
Ist es vielleicht der Vater?
Is this how Nathan still sees himself? As a little boy? I had a few more questions, Sue.
Shoot.
I don't need to ask her about that. Did you know that somebody stole Lily's paintings from Wade?
Huh? I knew he got robbed a few years back, but I thought he still had them all.
I don't need to ask her about that. Do you know who the red man is?
Oh, that's just Nate's imaginary friend. The red man has been around ever since my boy was little.
I see. So there's no actual person in town he could
Der
be
hat
referring
Lilly
to?
ins Wasser leiten lassen.
No way! According to Nathan, the red man hasn't changed in 30 years.
The red man actually exists. I met him in the forest.
What? That's crazy talk. Stop kidding around. I am not in the mood.
Sue, what do you see in this picture?
My God, that looks like one of Lily's paintings.
Wow, really? Can you describe it?
It was a nighttime scene, just like the photo, but the lights were floating above the lake. There was a pale hand reaching up from beneath the surface trying to touch them. The forest in the background was on fire, making the sky purple and red. There were probably other details too, but that's what I can remember.
Sounds captivating. Wish I could have seen it. Do you know anything about this flower?
Sure. Smoked it a few times back in the day, before it was endangered and all.
Yeah? What was it like?
Similar to pot, but stronger and more unpredictable. Never touched the stuff after I got pregnant with Lily.
All right. I think I'm gonna head off now.
Sure thing, little cat. Come back anytime.
Okay, den Rest hatte ich schon immer geguckt, ja. Okay, das wird jetzt immer seltsamer. Wir haben eine Halluzination gehabt oder auch nicht. Ach, war wieder raus. So, nee, wir haben nichts, um den Vogel abzulenken. Hier, bestimmt Elektroschock.
I don't want to zap that.
Okay. Gut, ich sag mal, Folgenpäuschen, ne? Wir sehen uns in der nächsten Folge wieder hier an der Stelle. Und ich hoffe, ihr seid genauso gespannt wie ich, wie es weitergehen wird. Bis dahin, euer Firefox.